Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98, for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. This weekend marks the celebration of 30 years of service for the Keowee Key Fire Department, and there are a number of activities happening to mark the occasion. Joining me today is Fire Chief Kris Childress. Welcome, Chief. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. I appreciate your time today. Let's just start with a brief history of the Keowee Key Fire Department.
Yeah, so to my best understanding, keep in mind I'm 31 years old, and Saturday's our 30th anniversary. So from what I've been told, some of the old timers, so supposedly in the mid to late 1980s, Keowee Key, their board at the time, it wasn't the KKPOA, it was the LKPOA, Lake Keowee Property Owners Association.
Yeah.
Basically, Keowee Key had some interest in having its own fire department. So back then, at the time, what was then and now still is Keowee Key was serviced by two fire departments, both volunteer. And nothing wrong with that. They're both great departments, were then, still are now. We got great relationships with them. But it was the response time to get here at Squatta Hall for both stations, and Keowee Key was still, really growing.
Sure.
A few years ago, Keowee Key celebrated their 50th anniversary, so Keowee Key was already very well established by the mid to late 80s. And they wanted their own fire department. So I'm not sure how. I don't think I've ever heard this part of the story, but in the early 90s, they had found out about a gentleman named Ed Goff, who was a retired assistant chief from the Columbia, South Carolina Fire Department.
Mm-hmm.
And retired Chief Goff had retired and settled up in Tomasi to enjoy retirement. And the Keowee Key folks found out about him somehow and approached him and asked him, hey, we have some interest in creating our own, so to speak, private fire department for this community, and we would like you to serve as a consultant. And Chief Goff agreed to it. And so he spent some time learning more about Keowee Key, riding through the neighborhood, looking at the call numbers between both those volunteer stations, seeing how many times a year they responded to Keowee Key, and really factored in a lot of things. And after a period of time, reported back to the board of directors and said, you need A, B, C, and D, and you need a fire station this big and this many trucks and these many folks. And they, to my understanding, just kind of gave them a pretty generous budget and let them hit the ground running.
So the rest is history, as they say, huh?
Yeah. And so in 1993, it was officially incorporated and actually went into operation in March of 95.
Yeah. Wow. With me today, Chief Childress with the Keowee Key Fire Department, celebrating 30 years of service in that area. So, Chief, how long have you been a firefighter?
So I've been a firefighter professionally for a living for 13 years now, ever since I graduated high school. Mm-hmm. And did it for 4 years while I was in high school as a junior firefighter. So it's the only job I really had besides a couple side jobs. I've been here with Keowee for 7 years.
Yeah. So did you always know that you wanted to be a firefighter?
Yes, absolutely. If I would have learned half as much about what I was being taught in school as I was trying to learn about firefighting, I would probably be sitting on Mars right now.
Yeah.
But all I cared about was the fire department and fire trucks, and worked out pretty well.
Wow. Yeah. I hear that story a lot. I talk with a lot of first responders, police officers, firefighters, EMTs, and as we distribute our First Responder Bible from the Mike Gallagher Show Charitable Foundation, and I hear that story a lot of people saying, I knew as a kid that I wanted to be a firefighter or an EMT or a police officer, and everything that I did leading up to that, prepared me to be a firefighter. And I had the opportunity back in January. I was invited to attend the Pelham-Batesville Fire Department's annual awards dinner. And I heard that story over and over of these guys who'd been there for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and that's the only thing they'd ever done.
Mm-hmm. Yes, a lot of folks here. It's a lifetime goal. It goes back to childhood, and I think at every little boy or even little girls, nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
Every child at some point wants to be a firefighter. But we're the lucky few that actually grew up and stuck to it, and we're doing it.
Yeah.
And I love it. I always tell people it's the greatest job in the world, and I'm thankful to have it.
Yeah. Kris Childress with me today. He's chief of the Keowee Key Fire Department. So walk us through the typical day at a fire department.
Okay, so most paid fire departments do a 24-hour shift. We here at Keowee, we do a 24-on, 48-off rotation. So the shift starts at 8 a.m. We have 2 stations. We have 4 on duty, not counting myself during the day, 9 to 5. But four shift members, that's a captain and 3 firefighters, typically come in at 8. The shift will eat breakfast. Some shifts make big meals. Some kind of eat on their way here. But after breakfast, usually around 8:30, 8:45, we do our daily equipment checks. So all the trucks get ran and operated. Each day of the week is a specific task, or you put a little bit more emphasis on a specific truck. So we have 2 days a week, actually. We set our ladder truck up, operate it fully. We have days where we operate our extrication equipment, our ventilation saws and small engines. Usually by the time all that's done, about 10:30, every day, to kind of depend on what needs to be done, we go out, we check hydrants, paint hydrants, training, building inspections, and pre-plans. Every once in a while we have events to attend or host events here at the station. Every shift typically does an hour or 2 of training of any subject or any topic, whether that's fire, medical, rescue. And a lot of times these guys attend classes at other local fire departments or at the State Fire Academy.
Yeah.
So typically, from during business hours, as we say, we're pretty busy, pretty steady. Take a little lunch break. As I said a minute ago, each day of the week has a specific thing sometimes. So we have a day of the week we cut our grass and wash our bay out. I mean, things a typical homeowner would do, we're just doing them here at work.
Right. Yeah.
We always tell people that, the firehouse is our second home. So typically after 5 o'clock, we treat it like we're home. Most of us make a big dinner and a lot of camaraderie, have a good time, but we're always ready to respond.
Yeah. Chief Childress with me here. We're talking about the Keowee Key Fire Department celebrating 30 years of service. One of the things that when I first learned this surprised me, a lot of the calls that you guys respond to are not fires.
Correct.
So tell us about some of those calls.
Yeah, so I would say on average, there's some variables there, but on average, for fire departments that do run medical calls, that ratio is probably 60 to 70% of a typical fire department's call volume.
Yeah.
I would say it's 70 to 80% of our call volume. So yes, a lot of medical calls. We operate at the EMT level here. We do have several paramedics on staff as well. We also house a Prisma ambulance crew all day as well, so they respond with us. We respond to drownings on the lake incidents. We have a fireboat in partnership with Oconee County that we keep on Lake Keowee. A lot of motor vehicle accidents, technical rescues, ropes, things like that. But yeah, it's kind of funny. We're a fire department. We got the big red trucks, but actually truly fighting fire is about 1 to 2% of what we actually do.
Yeah. Chief, one of the things that just gives me great comfort being someone who lives in the area part-time, you recently added a helipad in the back there. Talk with us about that and your partnership with Prisma. Yeah,
so we, long story short, about 15 years ago, all the fire districts in Oconee County established these predetermined landing zones. And those were typically school parking lots, church parking lots, high school football fields, baseball fields, even pastures and hay fields. Problem is, in our district, for those of you that are familiar with it, we don't have schools or a lot of commercial development or fields or pastures. So we were very limited as to where we could land a chopper. And a lot of them were cul-de-sacs for neighborhoods that were going to be built. Then the 2008 financial crisis hit, and the neighborhoods never got built, and the pine trees started coming back in.
Yeah.
So we were down to about 4 solid places to land a helicopter for a patient, and 3 of those were on public roadways. So the issue is with 4 on shift, if for example, 4 in a bad head-on collision, cutting people out of multiple cars, there was nobody to leave that scene and go establish a safe landing zone for a helicopter.
Yeah.
So that's a large reason of why we just built one here on site right behind the fire department. And I would estimate to date that probably 30, 35, maybe 40 people within Keowee Key and surrounding area are still with us today, in part due to having the ability to land and do it quickly.
And get that quick response. That is a lifesaver for sure. Chief Kris Childress, I appreciate your time today, and congratulations on that 30 years. And you guys are going to be celebrating lots of things going on there, but I applaud you for what you do, you and your entire team there, because again, I sleep better at night knowing that you're there ready to respond to keep our community safer.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it, and we're glad to be here and serve our community.
Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Email's always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. You hear me talking about, wait a minute, I don't want to do that. I got to turn this down. You hear me talking often about our friends at Ingles. They not only make your shopping experience easy, but they're a big part of our communities as well. And I'm so happy to have Melissa Leavell, Director of Advertising, with me today to talk a little about Ingles. Welcome. How are you?
I'm so glad to see you. It's just always great to see you. We don't see enough of each other.
That is for sure. And it's been way too long since we caught up. But so thank you for your time today. We have a lot to cover.
We do.
There's a lot of things happening here. You guys have been so great with your work with the veterans over at Upstate Warrior Solution and providing lunch over there. And that's just one small part of what Ingles does. Before we get into some of that work, let's talk a little. Let's look back to the morning of September 27th. We'd been getting a lot of rain, but the upstate of South Carolina, western North Carolina, woke up that morning and to devastation.
It was the end of the world for
a
lot of things, and it was greatly damaged a lot of Ingles base because our warehouse is located right in the heart of western North Carolina, right in the middle of the Swananoa River, and so we had tremendous devastation. And that's a gut punch for us because, we talk all the time, the first people to respond, it's almost expected, will be Ingles.
Yeah.
Ingles the one that's there to respond to a disaster. We're there with water. We're there with food, ice. We set up donation sites. It's just what we do because we love helping our communities. And our stores a lot of them are rural and they're in communities and they need our assistance. So when we were wounded, right, and there wasn't any way that we could really help. And that was really hard for about 8 days. And then miraculously, and I say this because I'm so proud to be a part of this team, 35 dump trucks working 24/7. We lost all of our dry goods. We lost 40 tractor trailers. 4 stores were damaged enough they had to be closed completely. 1 employee. And we've had to fish out our tractor trailers out of the back of a river. We got those, repaired those, or replaced those. Had to pay 27,000 employees.
Wow.
Okay, imagine no internet, no way to. A lot of our stores are in Georgia and over in West Tennessee, where we really weren't affected. They were still working. The stores were, still going. And people were like, we didn't have power, no internet.
The
no
mothership
service.
was down.
The mothership was down, and so we had to find out ways to pay people. We had Starlink up in no time. Mr. Ingles was out with a squeegee, but we went 24/7, 35 dump trucks. It took us 8 days, and 8 days after the storm, the Monday week after the storm, we rolled out 110 trucks from our warehouse, and that was repaving the parking lot because water does amazing things to in a parking lot. And so, all the brick and all the concrete and asphalt was all up. You couldn't have taken a semi in or out of there, even if everything was intact. We had to use alternate distribution centers until we were able to restock and get everything going. But, the goodness of others, the goodness of employees helping us, goodness of other retailers who really weren't affected as much, all came together for all of us in this grocery industry because we knew how important it was to be open and feeding the public.
Yeah, yeah. And boy, did you do it in a big way. You know, quite often as I'm talking about Ingles, I talk about that you're part of the community. You help the community in so many ways, but you really, I mean, you, as I said, the mothership was down. You guys were wounded, but your first thought was, how do we get back open to help our citizens in these communities we serve?
And the first thing we had to really think of was Manna Food Bank, which is our Feeding America outlet, was washed away. The entire warehouse. We run the largest reclamation center for Manna Food Bank's warehouse in the United States. And so Manna Food Bank, which was going to be desperately needed, we had to find a location for them, which we did. We relocated them immediately. We had to get up and running to be able to pay our people. We had to get up and running to be able to give people that didn't have stores in their neighborhoods anymore a way to get food to them. All right. So we just had we did 1,500 bags per store per week.
Wow.
Okay, to the people. So we would hand out essential supplies. Our vendors stepped up to donate. The whole story of Helene, and is so not just about Ingles, but it's about the people. When I say I'm proud to be part of Ingles, I mean everything from the president to the person who, works the copy machine all day, right?
Yeah.
We're cleaning and working and helping and getting us back together because it meant something. It wasn't just a company.
Yeah.
It was our way to get back to help. We had a mission. Okay. We had to get back because we had people who needed us.
Yeah. Yeah. Melissa Leavell with me, Director of Advertising for Ingles. So kind of walk us through that. You mentioned a minute ago that you had 27,000 employees who needed to be paid. But you didn't have any infrastructure there. How did you pay them? Well,
we had some other retailers that we were able to get that helped us run that internet from other locations in the United States to be able to do that. But the way they would get us the information is they took pictures of their time cards with their cell phones and texted them. And we found 3 or 4 people that had good text service.
Yeah.
Because, cell service was horrible as well.
I can imagine.
And so we had district managers who would grab them all up and do a runner. We'd be back and forth driving them back up in person so we could make everybody's time card.
Yeah.
And orders to the stores couldn't be filled because even if we had all the product with the internet down, we couldn't fill the orders that the store needs. So all those orders that the store managers order specifically for their stores, the milk, the bread, all the items on the shelf could not be done. So those had to be done manually.
Yeah.
And even the stores that had power had that difficulty because we didn't have the internet to get it to them.
Right.
So everything had to find alternate ways. Boy, I'll tell you what, when you need to find something, to find a way to do it, it can be done. I mean, it's just amazing what ingenuity can come out of people. But we were in a conference room. There were 8 of us in the conference room and one hot spot. And we kept kicking people off. So I was kind of like the bottom of the tub with Mel, you got to get off the phone or the computer right now because I've got to get an important call. But we were in the process of getting Manna set back up, getting stores out. And part of that conversation from the very beginning was, how can we help the people in the stores that have been closed?
Yeah.
Okay, how can we get those people what they need? Some of them are in food deserts.
Yeah.
Okay, we do a lot of rural communities, and we're the center of town, right? And so we had to get these things fixed up there. So this was center of attention. It wasn't how much money we were losing. It wasn't any of that. It was how we could get back and help our communities.
Get people what they needed. Melissa, you really... It brought home just how reliant we are on cell phones and internet service these days.
Boy, isn't it sad? But I tell you what, I think about you though, and what you all did for radio, because I mean that was you all were the touchstone of people too. So I don't have any problems now turning my cell phone off. Right. Yep. I did before. I don't get the Joneses, my palms just start to sweat, everything. It taught me something that I really don't need to be that connected.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was important, how to help people. I met neighbors I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I met people in our, coming up to our stores that I had never met before, people that needed help. And it wasn't the government. It wasn't the sanctioned people. Yeah. We had churches, we had organizations, we had community restaurants. The restaurants were closed in downtown Nashville. Chefs were setting up places in our parking lots of our stores and other stores, every place they could, and cooking food for people, because we really did have soup lines. We had food lines. There was no way. We were feeding 3 meals a day to almost 10, 15,000 people just in our one area. Okay, that were without. I mean, they were talking Swannanoa, Nashville area. That was just incredible. So chefs did this. They did that. They able to get that ingenuity to come into. They didn't charge anything.
Wow.
We had our stores, our parking lots were little sanctuaries. We had beautiful restrooms. Yeah, I called them fancy restrooms. Yes. We had showers. We had the American Legion. We had the Salvation Army. We had Samaritan's Purse. We Red Cross doing food. Our garden center areas were transformed into relief centers that did things other than food. Yeah. Okay, so you could get coats, or you could get a heater, or you could get diapers, or dog food, or anything that you needed there. And a National Guard person would walk you through, didn't charge anything. We opened up, and there would be a line around the store until we opened.
Wow. With me today, Melissa Leavell with Ingles, Director of Advertising, and we're talking about how we all survived Helene. You know, we had it pretty tough here in the upstate, a lot of trees down, no electricity and all, but nothing compared to what you guys had up there. I mean, some areas, literally homes washed away, never to be rebuilt because the property's not there anymore.
The property's not there. I mean, the land's not there anymore. It's a river. But I have to say something about the upstate, because even though you all were hit very hard, no power, and, the trees, big tree issue here, and some water issues, because you had lots of flooding from the lots of rain that came throughout that, and some tornado, I believe, hit the upstate as well. The colleges and the universities up here house the students from the universities up in Western Carolina. Our partners down here, and our sports properties partners, and our people that we sponsor gathered together, and radio stations, television stations, and sent aid like nobody's business up to the Western Carolina mountains. Not to us, but to charities that they knew that needed them. And we would just connect with them and say, this person needs it, this person. But the what can I do for you from the upstate was incredible. Yeah.
Well, and it was a horrible time in one way, but it was just so good to see how people respond when others need their help.
You know, it's a help. I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind now that you have to rely on each other.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And the beauty of getting to know people, even in the worst of circumstances, and faith. Faith was a big part of everybody's salvation at this particular point, and churches really stepped up for it, to everything. And radio stations like yourself, and I'm connecting people. I have a list here of people that I'm missing, a list here of people that I know are good. That was it. Your car radio, believe it or not, our transistor radio was the only communication in Western North Carolina we had. That was it.
There's a 1-hour television special coming up soon that Ingles is sponsoring on Fox Carolina here in the upstate. That's going to sort of document this. They're going to tell the story, and there's some interesting stories to be told.
Oh, absolutely. And I have to tell you, this is the best way to do it, because it's called Healing.
Yes.
From Helene. And so it's going to talk about some of the goodness that came out. It'll talk about that devastation and about that night and that morning and the stories of survival. But then it's also going to talk about the people that raised our community out of the ashes, literally. Yeah. It really is. And you've got a school bus driver that helped evacuate people. You have a young boy who spoke Spanish, who could act as an interpreter.
Yeah.
That just started to do it. You have people that came into our stores that asked us, what can we do? Help handing out bags. We had, handing out food. We have people coming into people's houses. How can I clean? We had the Chainsaw Brothers who would, the Chainsaw Brothers. And you would they'd call the radio station. They say, where do you need us next? The radio station, need you to cut down this road. People couldn't get out of their homes. We had, and I can't remember his name. I still can't remember his name. The race car driver that had the helicopter, right? And he had all of his friends coming. He had 25 helicopters delivering things. It was 3 days before the National Guard arrived.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. At 3 days, a lot of people would have been dead. Okay. Yeah. We found, one of the helicopter pilots, a private pilot, found someone because they were just showing a mirror.
Wow.
In the midst of all that. So down and they found people to rescue, but not just to rescue, but they would drop off supplies because you couldn't get in or out of so many places. Every bridge was washed out. Every road was washed out. what didn't hit your home, then a landslide fell and washed out the road, or the river came and took it away. Whole entire neighborhoods are gone, but also neighborhoods that are still standing were devastated and cut off from society.
Yeah, yeah. And those are the types of things that FEMA or no government organization can come in and do. I mean, I know I have a nephew who a group of his young friends, one of their fathers owns a restaurant. So they literally, the staff would stay over at night when they would close. They would make meals, and then these kids would take them up on horseback and take them up into the mountains to deliver them. That
horseback and mules?
Yes.
We had mules too. It was incredible to see that. And the ingenuity of people. Yes. I mean, wow, talk about needing to find a way to get somewhere. But those helicopter pilots were taking nurses up. They were delivering babies.
Yes.
I mean, it's like the world went on.
Yeah, and that's
it kept ticking, and people were surviving, and all of us have PTSD. I mean, there's no way that you can, even if you weren't touched by it, you saw it and you can't unlive it.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that the healing part of this and hearing the stories of the goodness in people, which is what this special is about as well, and about how our communities came together, how there wasn't a state line, there wasn't a border, there wasn't a language barrier, there wasn't anything that did not get erased.
Yeah.
To help those in need.
Yeah.
And that is such an incredible thing to know.
Yeah.
And God works in mysterious ways, and showing us the beauty on earth is through anything. And that's wonderful to see.
Melissa Leavell with Ingles with me. And let me just say thank you to Ingles for making this special on Fox Carolina possible, because that's going to tell a lot of stories. To tell us when to watch.
It's the 27th of March. It's an hour-long special. I believe it starts at 7:30. I might have to check on that, but it's 7:30 at night. And it's 1 hour, and it'll be limited commercial interruption. You're just going to see a few things from Ingles talking about what we are doing for the community still and how you can help. But other than that, just going to be completely commercial-free.
Yep, and that is on Fox Carolina here in the upstate of South Carolina. Be sure and tune in on the 27th. And we'll be having some more information about that and the times and everything for you. But, again, just a special thank you to Ingles for all that you've done, because, again, you were injured like everyone else, but boy, what troopers to just find a way to continue to serve.
And don't you understand? I think that, don't you think, and I'm sure you feel this way, that the only way you really heal is by helping others heal.
Right. Exactly.
All right. You can't wallow in it. You got to go forward. Right. And you have responsibility to your communities, to the people that depend on you for their employment, for their food, for their well-being, and all the communities, organizations that you've been supporting all this time. You can't stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You've got to find a way to push forward, but we had to rely on the help of others, and it was wonderful to see it.
Melissa, it's always a pleasure, and again, thank you for what Ingles does. I'm just so proud of our partnership. Thank you for being here.
Thank you too. Thank you so much.
On our guest line today, Mayor of Liberty, South Carolina, and joining her, Josh Latham with U.S. Waffle. Welcome, Mayor. It's good to have you back. You have an exciting event coming up, so let's just jump in. Tell us what's happening.
Yes, Joey, thank you so much. It's good to be back on your show. And we do. We've got a brand new event. This is our first annual South Carolina Waffle Fest. So we've got a lot of people that are anticipating, lots of people interested in saying they're coming, but that is going to be Saturday, the 29th of March from 10 to 4, and it is going to take place in downtown Liberty.
And anytime waffles are in the equation, that's going to be a lot of fun. Who cannot have fun when there's waffles involved?
Exactly. You can get so creative, and so that's exactly what we have asked our vendors to do. We have about 18 food vendors that are going to be here for the event, and every food vendor, we have required them to have a dish that is a sweet or savory waffle dish.
Yeah. Wow. Josh Latham is also with us with U.S. Waffle. So, Josh, is this sort of a trend to have these type festivals around cities in our state and around the country?
Not so far. This will actually be the first time.
Oh, wow. Really? So Liberty is going to have the first one. That's exciting, too.
Absolutely. We're very excited to be a part of it. The mayor's been fantastic as far as planning the event, and it's going to be a huge turnout.
Yeah. So, Josh, take a minute and tell us about U.S. Waffle and what you guys do.
So U.S. Waffle, we're right outside of Liberty, South Carolina. We were founded in 2013. We started off actually with about 25 team members and only one product line, but now we have about 8 production lines and over 400 team members. And we continue to grow. We're actually expecting quite a bit of growth in this year, and years to come. But we produce waffles, pancakes, and also a product called Poffertures, which are like a miniature pancake, about the size of a quarter.
Yeah. And where can people find your product?
So various locations. We have products at Trader Joe's, Aldi, Walmart, and several other retail locations.
Yeah. That is, I didn't have any idea that waffles were being made just outside of Liberty. I mean, I pass through Liberty all the time, back and forth, and had no idea you were there.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of people drive right by it, and it's crazy since I've worked with the company how many people I've talked to that say, "Oh, that's what that place is," over in that huge building.
Yeah. Mayor Wood, let's talk a minute about what you hope to accomplish with this being in downtown Liberty.
Yeah, well, first of all, we want people to come to Liberty. We want people to know that Liberty is here. We're a great place to grow your families. We're a great place to retire. We've, starting families. But we just want people to know that we're here. And while you're here, just see what we've got to offer. And we've got to, as far as what we're planning to do with this event, it's a time we enjoy bringing community together. So, and we even extend outside of the city of Liberty. So just people coming together, families coming together to have a good time and just relax, get away from the day's work and just come together, enjoy some time, fun and relax, and have lots of waffles and, shop with the artisan vendors that will be here as well. We're going to be offering the Waffle Wonderland, which is actually the children's area, and all of that is going to be to be a part of. And so that is actually going to be put on by Potter's Clay Fellowship. So we're really grateful to partner with them, or a church here in Liberty.
Yeah.
So I've got all kinds of fun planned for the kids.
Yeah. With me today, Mayor of Liberty, Erica Woods, and Josh Latham with U.S. Waffle. Again, it just sounds so much fun. I'm not sure that I completely understood that this was your first time doing this. Any idea, Mayor, of how many people you expect?
Well, we know that we've got over 3,000 people that are very interested to be here, so we're expecting a really big crowd.
Wow. 3,000 who have expressed an interest. That's amazing. So if someone's listening today and they don't know exactly where Liberty is and where this will take place, Mayor, tell us where that is, how to get there, and what time. When does it start?
Okay. Liberty is located between Easley and Clemson. So if you come down 123 and go through Easley, then you'll just get off at the Liberty exit. That's 178. And then you'll turn right and come on down to Liberty. But it's going to start at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be from 10 to 4. And we're going to be ready with also contests that we will be holding that day. We're going to have a beard contest. So, get creative with that. And we are also going to have a waffle toss contest and a waffle eating contest. So those are free to enter. So everybody just needs to go to Facebook and check out our Facebook page, the City of Liberty, or you can just Google or search on Facebook South Carolina Waffle Fest, and that'll bring you to the event page, and you can find out information on how to register and be a part of those events.
Sure. Now, Mayor, I got to ask you, what's the grand prize for the waffle eating contest? Because I think I could win that.
Yes, we actually have Paul's Family Farms has been great to donate a basket full of their products. They have a syrup company, and actually their syrup comes from Pennsylvania. So they will be providing that along with some of their other waffle products. And So lots of good stuff that is kind of homegrown and made here.
Yeah. Josh Latham is also with us today with U.S. Waffle. Now, Josh, is this your only location outside of Liberty, or do you have other locations?
So U.S. Waffle, this is our only location. We do have a parent company, though, with locations in Toronto as well as the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm. And I guess is that the primary product that you make, or do you make other products?
Yes, sir, that's correct. So waffles, pancakes, and something else called popatures.
Yeah. Any idea of how many waffles you guys make every year?
Not right offhand, unfortunately.
And are they shipped all around the country, or is this primarily regional?
All around the country.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. That's well, this is, like I said, Mayor, I think I can win the waffle eating contest because I love waffles. And this just sounds like a lot of fun. Take a minute, Mayor, and tell us about some of the other vendors that you'll have there.
Okay. We're going to have, let me see if I can pull that up. We have woodwork that somebody's going to be there with woodwork. Somebody's going to be there with a charcuterie board that is actually stamped with Liberty and a waffle design. We have, as far as
is it too late? Is it too late for vendors to participate?
We actually might have just 2 or 3 spots still for artisan vendors.
Yeah.
But we put that out there, and it's possible it could have been filled up while we're talking. But we did have those spots available this morning. But we do have like Tannum and Tilly's Bubbly Delights, Down Home Donuts, Earth's Elements, Stony Hill Homestead, O'Shields Concessions, Paul Family Farms, Jazzy Jewels, which they are making waffle earrings, is what I understand.
Wow.
There's, all kinds. We've got the Scoop that's here in Liberty. She's going to have her booth set up. Fearless Beauty Cafe, Country Dog Treats. There's Crafty Neighbors, all kinds. We've got close to 50 vendors. So
wow. Yep.
Lots to do when you get here.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fun day. Again, it's next Saturday, March the 29th, starts at 10 a.m. and lasts throughout the afternoon at 4 p.m. Josh Latham, Mayor Erica Woods, thank you both for your time. And, hey, good luck next week. Hope you have a big crowd so that we can talk about the second annual Waffle Festival next year.
That's right. Thank you, Joey. We really appreciate your time and getting us on here so we can spread the word about this exciting, fun event.
That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.